Okay, now these are an homicide. Mr. Brown is accused of having murdered Mr. Smith. The accused claims that the homicide was committed in self-defense. Of the following, the evidence which best supports Mr. Brown's claims is that A. Mr. Brown was armed. It is uncertain as to whether Mr. Smith was armed. B. Neither Mr. Brown nor Mr. Smith was armed. C. Mr. Brown was armed, Mr. Smith was not. D. Both Mr. Smith and Mr. Brown were armed. E. Mr. Smith was armed, Mr. Brown was not.
All those Smiths and Browns again. Smith Brothers cough drops. Okay, the evidence which best supports his claim. None of the above? Oh, they didn't have that one. All of the above? No. Gee, Squint, I kind of forgot what all these Browns and Smiths were doing. I guess, okay, now they both weren't armed. Were they?
Do something. You have to make a judgment.
Oh, okay. How about A? Smith was armed, but Brown wasn't, probably, or something.
The answer is A. Mr. Smith was armed, Mr. Brown was not.
Oh. Well, that kind's hard to do orally, you know.
You wanted it this way. You called me over here with your mystery call. Yeah. One ringy-dingy, two ringy-dingies. You kept going till you got me. Yeah. Well, you knew how to get me attention.
Yeah, I know where you live.
Okay, smarty pants. A police officer finds a man dying in one of the city parks. There are several stab wounds in the man's chest, and his skull is fractured. Just before dying, the man manages to say that he was the victim of an assault and robbery. Upon investigation by the officer, a bloodstained shoemaker's AWL all is found nearby. I didn't know what that is.
AWL? I don't either.
Well, it's a shoemaker's tool. Of the following, the most useful assumption to make first in attempting to solve the crime is that A. For some reason, the man lied so that tentatively his statement ought to be disregarded. B. There were no witnesses to the possible crime. C. The awl was deliberately placed near the scene of the crime to mislead the police. D. The murderer had access to shoemaker's tools. E. The blood was present on the awl prior to the commission of the alleged crime.
Okay, well, at least you know he had the awl, so he had access, so it'd be D.
That's very good. Okay, at 2 a.m., while patrolling your post, you find the body of a man lying on the street. A knife is protruding from the man's back. On the basis of these data only, it is least likely that the man was lying A. on his left side, B. face downward, C. on his back, D. on his right side, E. in such a position as to make reasonable the deduction that he fell.
Okay, he's lying on the street, a knife sticking out of his back. Well, it's most likely that the man was... Wait a minute, you said at 2 a.m. you find this body lying on the street, a knife sticking out of his back, and just on these data, it's least likely. Okay, that always trips me up. Least likely that he was lying... Okay, he's lying on his back now. It's least likely that he was on his back before. I'd say C.
It's very good. The answer is C.
Well, the way they worded it, I don't like that.
It is tricky. At 5 o'clock on Wednesday afternoon, May 20th, a man was shot in the corner of P Avenue and Q Street. A police officer who was near the corner questioned passerbys. Two men testified that they were walking north on the east side of P Avenue toward Q Street and saw Smith, who has a criminal reputation, walking north toward Q Street about 50 feet ahead of him. Smith turned to the corner quickly. He turned the corner quickly at Q Street. Evidently, they said, Smith stopped at the corner and shot the man because it was a sunny day and they saw his shadow as he pulled his gun and fired. Yeah, they were sure it was his shadow since he wore a distinctive hat. Smith was arrested and questioned. He stated that he had gone into the cigar store to buy some cigarettes. The owner of the cigar store corroborated his statement. The cigar store has a reputation as a hangout for bookmakers. On the basis of this information, the most logical of the following courses of action is A. Okay, now got that straight, do ya? The basis of this information, the most logical course of action. A. Smith should be released because although the testimony seems to establish his guilt pretty definitely, it is not strong enough to hold him. B. Smith should be convicted on the basis of the testimony. C. If it can be determined that it was really a sunny day on May 20th, then the testimony against Smith is pretty conclusive in establishing his guilt. D. The testimony against Smith, as given by these two men, may establish the fact that he was at the scene of the crime, but has no value in proving that he committed it. Or A. The evidence establishes quite definitely the fact that the owner of the cigar store is an accessory to the crime.
Well, okay, they saw him, saw his shadow, saw him pull the gun. Wait, I'm thinking. I would say, if it could be determined that it was a sunny day, they saw the shadow when he pulled the gun, that'd be C, was it?
The answer is A. He should be released because the testimony ain't strong enough to hold him.
Well, I thought that it was because he was supposed to have that distinctive hat on and they saw the shadow. They were pretty sure it was his gun that fired. I would have thought so.
Wrong. Yeah, okay. In one case, a man was being tried for murdering a woman. Testimony was that a witness had seen the defendant pick up a rifle, run across a lot, and rest the gun on the fence. The witness had seen a flash, had heard the report, had seen the woman fall, had gone up to the woman, and had seen a bullet hole above the woman's left eye. The defendant attorney asked the witness if he saw the bullet hit the woman. When the witness was unable to answer affirmatively, the attorney observed to the court a case of mere circumstantial evidence and rested his case. The defendant was freed on the basis of the judgment that the sole evidence against him was circumstantial. Here, this incident illustrates most closely A. the excellent reasoning characteristic of some court decisions, B. police incompetence at gathering sufficient evidence of a non-circumstantial type, C. the difficulty of obtaining convictions for murder, D. the absurd lengths to which prejudice against circumstantial evidence may go, E. the value of conclusions which rest not only on direct observation but on deduction as well.
Oh, I'd say E, trying to not put too much weight on the circumstantial evidence, but on the deduction as well.
That's right, me dear. The man had evidently been murdered by means of a blow on the head. The police officer asked the suspect why he had hit the murdered man with a hammer. Yet there was no hammer in the room, nor was there any reason for believing that a hammer had been used in perpetrating the crime. The reason for the officer's question is most probably that the officer A. Had not thought sufficiently before he spoke. B. Possessed information, not obvious, which indicated that a hammer had been used to commit the murder. C. Hoped that the suspect might, in place of answering the question, at least point out the place where the hammer had been hidden. D. Wanted to trap the suspect. E. Was given the suspect an indirect opportunity to bring into the case the names of other possible suspects.
That does bear some thinking. Let's see. The hammer. Where was the hammer hidden? Well, I guess, C. I hope the suspect might point out where the hammer was hidden.
The answer is D. Wanted to trap the suspect.
Oh, well, I was close.